The Silk Road was one of the largest routes through which ancient world trade flourished. Stretching from China to the Mediterranean and then to Europe, this route facilitated the trade of many valuable goods, from precious stones to glass and Chinese porcelain. However, the most important and valuable goods transported were Chinese silks, which gave the route its name. The silk bales that started from China increased in value as they passed through different lands, eventually adorning the garments of Roman nobles and the wealthy. The secret of silk production, which saw tremendous demand, was closely guarded by the Chinese as a state secret. Welcome to Encyclopedia Historia. In this video, we will talk about how the secrets of silk production, known as Byzantine silk, were stolen from China. A tale of industrial espionage that may be the greatest commercial secret theft in medieval history, and one that the Eastern Roman Empire went to great lengths to acquire. Silk is made from the filaments that are produced by the larvae of moths, specifically of the species Bombyx mori, members of the Lepidoptera family, to create cocoons. The Chinese had learned how to turn the fibers from these cocoons into thread and fabric on an industrial scale as early as 4000 BCE. This lightweight yet high quality and visually striking fabric, which could be easily dyed in different colors, quickly became a prized commodity among the nobles and the wealthy across China. The silk industry became so profitable that Chinese emperors began protecting all information related to silk production as a state secret to safeguard this lucrative business. Although the secret of silk was closely guarded, the product itself could not be hidden. Over time, silk slowly became known and sought after in the West. By 1000 BCE, silk had become a luxury product demanded by every noble and wealthy person from the East China Sea to the Atlantic Ocean. The trade of Chinese silk, starting in China, enriched nearly every civilization it passed through. By the 5th century BCE, the Persians, who brought silk to the Mediterranean, profited greatly from this trade. Later, the trade caravans of the Greeks, starting with Alexander the Great and then the Romans, carried Chinese silk to Rome, where it was sold. The growing demand for Chinese silk, for which Roman nobles and wealthy citizens were willing to pay a fortune, soon became a problem for the expanding Roman Empire. As the seemingly insatiable demand for silk was met, Rome's gold flowed eastward, never to return. The money flowing first to the Persians and then to the Chinese through the silk trade reached such high amounts that it played an economically significant role in the events that led to the 3rd century crisis, which ultimately resulted in the division of the Roman Empire into 3 parts. While the Western Roman Empire was struggling with wars and crises, the Eastern Roman Empire recovered by selling the silk it obtained from the Sassanids to the newly forming feudal lords in Europe and to the Germanic and Gallic tribes. The Silk Road, through which gold flowed, continued to function during these events. A caravan departing from China would reach the capital, Constantinople, after a 7-month journey, selling its goods to the wealthy. Caravans carrying valuable goods were tightly monitored by the countries along the route to protect them from bandit attacks drawn by the allure of gold and silk. Emperor Justinian I, also known as Justinian the Great, sought to ensure the flow of silk, which was continuously interrupted and became increasingly expensive due to constant attacks from warring countries, bandits on land, and pirates at sea. To maintain the flow of revenue generated by intermediaries, Justinian initially attempted to bring silk through alternative routes, but was unsuccessful. While seeking alternatives to the Silk Road, Justinian was also working to reunite the fragmented Roman Empire. His efforts led to the reestablishment of control over Egypt, Carthage, and Italy, but the imperial treasury was depleted. Looking for a new source of income for the empire, Justinian was approached by 2 Nestorian monks who, according to historians, had traveled from China to India and then to the Sassanids. In 550 CE, the monks offered to travel to China and bring back the secrets of silk in exchange for a great reward. Justinian, enticed by the offer, sent the 2 monks to China with promises of significant rewards. After a long 2-year journey, the monks finally reached China. Silk production, from the rearing of silkworms to the weaving of the silk, was a closely guarded state secret in China. However, during the time of the monks' visit, China was experiencing internal unrest, and central authority had weakened. Taking advantage of this administrative void and the trust their status as monks inspired in the Chinese, the monks managed to learn in detail how silkworms were raised, how the larvae spun cocoons, and how the silk fibers were extracted from the cocoons and spun into thread. Silk manufacturers shared this information with the monks, thinking that it would be of no use, as they believed silkworms could not survive outside of China. However, the Nestorian monks somehow managed to smuggle silkworm eggs or larvae, as well as the mulberry leaves and saplings that the worms fed on, and embarked on their return journey. It is believed that Nestorian Christians who were spreading along the Silk Road at that time helped the monks on their way back. Upon reaching the capital, the monks brought with them enough larvae to begin silk farming, along with enough mulberry saplings and leaves to feed them. Emperor Justinian, with this newfound knowledge and treasure, immediately established silk production centers in Constantinople, Beirut, Antioch, Bursa, and the Peloponnese Peninsula. Mulberry trees were cultivated, silkworms were raised, silk fibers were extracted from the cocoons, and these fibers were woven into silk fabric. While the silk produced did not quite match the quality achieved through China's millennia-old expertise, it was sufficient to meet both the domestic demand within the empire and the requests coming from Europe. In this way, the Eastern Roman Empire freed itself from the silk monopolies of China and the Sassanids. By producing silk locally, the empire not only created a new source of income, but also managed to keep the large amounts of money previously flowing out of the country. In the following centuries, the silk produced and processed in Constantinople became one of the most valuable commodities for the city and the empire. Silks produced in special colors such as Tyrian purple or imperial purple, which could only be worn by emperors, were sold as far north as European kingdoms, transported by ships and caravans. Byzantine silk, which became nearly a monopoly in European silk trade, formed the backbone of the imperial economy until the 13th century. The Italian city-states, eager to transport this silk to Europe, strengthened and rose to power through the relationships established by this trade. The theft of silk manufacturing secrets, which was the greatest industrial espionage of the Middle Ages, had a significant impact on the history of the Byzantine Empire and other Mediterranean states of the time. Silk production was severely disrupted in 1204 when the Fourth Crusade's Latin army captured Constantinople and fragmented the Eastern Roman Empire. Although the secret of silk was brought to these lands from China, the industry never regained its former glory, though its legacy lives on in famous silks such as those from Bursa, still making an impact even 1,500 years later. Thank you for watching Encyclopedia Historia. If you found our video useful, please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos with interesting and informative content.